everyone. Welcome back to The Brief, a new show from Brand Innovators, where we dive into the wide world of marketing and advertising and talk about the biggest topics facing today's industry leadership, and more importantly, getting to know the people behind some of your favorite campaigns. I'm your host, David Teicher, and in each episode, we'll be speaking with some of the most influential and innovative marketing professionals in the game today, the brands and the products and the creative process that dominates their lives, and getting into their heads behind their campaigns and their current work. In today's episode, I'm going to be joined by Kaye, Director of Brand and Communications at Archer, and Jane Reynolds, Director of Product Marketing at Archer. For those who aren't aware yet, Archer is the new Match Group app for queer men, and we're going to be hearing all about that product and launch in just a second. First, I'd like to give a big shout out and thank you to our partners at Empire Originals, our collaborators in this show and this series. We wouldn't be here without you. Thank you very much for helping bring this to life. And with that, I would like to welcome Michael and Jane. Hello, hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Welcome. Of course. I know we were talking about this before we get into everything that we're going to be talking about today. Just want to thank you both for being such active community members and supporters. I love seeing you at all of our events, and I'm hopeful that we'll see each other in person soon, but we appreciate you.
Well, we appreciate you. You know we love a happy hour, David. So we are big supporters of Brand Innovators.
I love it. I mean, there's another one coming up soon, I'm sure. It's like there's so many, I can't even keep track of them all. But hopefully we'll see you there. We'll have a drink and we'll toast to hopefully what will be the success of a new app launch. So before we get into the hows and the whys of it all, tell me and tell our community, what is Archer? What have you been working on?
So Archer is a new social-first dating app that we are launching from Match Group for queer men. And the app offers multiple discovery modes, from multiple grid views to a linear layout, and they are all filled with verified photos only.
Verified photos. I love it. So let's go behind the scenes a little bit. Before we talk about the marketing of it all and the development and the launch, what led to the development and the launch of this app to begin with? How did you identify a need in the market?
Yeah, so, tons of hours of research really went into this. But first of all, we saw just even from, within the Match Group brand and research that the gay male demographic is growing. Over the past 10 years, there's been a 10% increase in men publicly identifying as gay men. And we found that, that group, the gay community, is really a great community on dating apps because they generally have higher adoption, longer retention, more frequent usage. It was really a great fit for a new dating app. And, in the gay male space, there hasn't been a really big shake-up new app in a decade. And from the hours of research that we did, we found that there really was this void for gay men who identify as gay today, feeling like there was only, one app that maybe would work better for hookups, or having to use an app that, while welcoming to LGBTQ members, was more focused on the hetero relationship. And so we found that there was really this desire for a dating app for gay and queer men, specifically for them. And also, as Michael kind of touched upon before, having that social component too, not just dating, but wanting to meet other men in the community.
Fascinating. So I want to get into more of that in a second, especially the differentiating aspects. But to take a step back as part of your thinking process, I know that diversity, inclusivity has been super important to you based on our past discussions and your participation with our community. How do you factor that into the platform just to ensure that you're speaking to all community members and all audiences?
There's many things that we've been doing behind the scenes. So we've worked with over 1,200 gay, bisexual, and queer men through surveys and interviews and product testing. We've also built a community of community advocates. And this is a group of diverse queer men who have helped us steer the direction of Archer's product development we've also consulted with LGBTQ advocacy and safety organizations and will continue to partner with these different nonprofit organizations on future iterations and initiatives that support the queer community. And we also want to make sure that we're celebrating all kinds of connection, no matter who you are or what you're looking for. We really created Archer as a space where men who are queer can feel accepted and welcomed. We're not here to tell you what type of relationship you should be seeking out. We're just here to make it easier and safer for you to do so.
So let's build on that. I mean, I love that. You mentioned safety a couple times. Where does that play? What role does that play when you're thinking about differentiating, right, this app from others in the market, right? Thinking about trust, thinking about safety, like where does that come into play for you?
Yeah, safety is honestly our top priority. It is so important that our users feel safe and celebrated on the app. So the selfie verification process is huge. Basically, anyone who downloads Archer, what they have to do is they have to have a photo of their face, which is not super common, having that being required. And so a photo of their face that's then selfie verified and your profile is reviewed. So, that is making sure that you are who you say you are, or at least you look like who you are, the person behind the avatar on the screen. And then also we take it another step further because it is so important to us that we foster a community of kindness on the app. And so every person, before they can message anyone else on Archer, has to commit to the Archer pledge to say, I'm going to act kindly. And we have very, hyper intense AI tools that really look out also too for that kind of language. So making sure if there is anything that seems like it's negging or derogatory, that gets flagged and we have a team of moderators review it. And also another hyper important partner that to us is Rain. We work with Rain, numerous match group apps do, but helping make that reporting flow very easy to understand and keeping our users updated on it. Because, we want to make sure that you can block anyone, you can report anyone, and keeping our environment super safe.
I think that's fantastic. I mean, we clearly live in an age where there are other platforms that are rampant with toxicity and having these systems in place to ensure a safe, positive environment. I hope would go a long way for the community that you're working with and your potential audience. So let me ask you: have you considered what the reaction from the community, from the market might be? Potential concerns or responses when you launch this?
We're really confident about what Archer is today, but also what it's going to become tomorrow, next year, the year after. And I think that confidence really comes from the fact that we've been involving the community from day one. We invited them to the table. They were able to weigh in on the product and how we're marketing it. And they're going to continue to play a pivotal role in how we're shaping Archer. We believe this app has the power to change gay dating culture. Dating for men within the community has really evolved from a place of hidden experience to celebration and pride. And Archer was developed to reflect this process. So this progress. So again, we're going to continue to involve our community advocates. We're always going to be talking to the many users that will be on Archer. So we're really excited about what this is going to bring for us and the community.
That's great. So tell me. So I want to get into like the now that we have an understanding of kind of the thinking and the process that went into the development here. I want to get into the marketing and the launch itself. But let's start with the name. Where did the name Archer come from? I'm very curious.
Yeah, so we considered, I know this number by heart. We considered 148 different names. We worked with an agency, we worked with the Working Assembly, great partner, and we wanted the name to really convey this celebratory, strong, exciting feeling. And we hit the bullseye, we think, with Archer. There's a lot you can do with that, which we love. And we just love that Archer is this strong name. You're going after what you want. You can aim, ready to take aim, all the things. And we just felt like it really helped convey this celebratory, strong idea of someone who's really going after what they're looking for.
I love that. So tell me, what does the launch look like for you? What does that activation include? Like, how do you go out to market with an app like this?
So one of the things we're doing close to launch in June is we're going to be tapping influencer partners. We recognize that Gen Z, who is part of our primary target and primary demographic, that this is a generation that are digital natives. They are content creators. So leveraging influencers is an important tactic for our go-to-market strategy. We've also seen the impact of influencer marketing on other match group brands, including OkCupid. So for us, we're leaning really heavily into PR and influencers to start, along with some other guerrilla marketing tactics that I think we're going to get into after.
Very cool. And is that, are the influencers more like platform agnostic, or are there specific platforms that you're thinking about? Or no right answer? I'm just curious.
We're focusing on Instagram and TikTok.
Sure. That makes sense. Certainly. I love it. So, okay. So you roll this out. Are there any obstacles that you've considered, or any challenges that you've been presented with along the way as you build towards the product launch?
I mean, it's always exciting and nerve-wracking to be launching a new app, right? There are other apps that serve this community, but we feel really confident in the fact that we feel like we're filling this void that exists today. And so, I think, like, to Michael's point of the research we've done and will continue to do, the great thing about having an app is you can continue to test. We're always A/B testing new features, seeing the reaction that's important to our users. As I mentioned, generally speaking, the gay community has higher usage of dating apps than hetero. And so really tapping into that and seeing, what are the features that keep people around that they're interested in. We have a lot of confidence that these social aspects will really help. So we'll be launching community chats, which are going to be based around shared interests. Or, if a bunch of people are going to Fire Island that weekend, they can hop into the Fire Island community chat, see who's going to be around. And we're just going to continue to monitor and listen to our users. We find that certainly with our other apps, people are vocal about what they like and what they don't like. And we really listen to that. Or we see reactions on social media, we see reactions in app reviews, and just really want to be on the pulse of what's important.
I love it. I think, go for it.
Should I pause a second?
That's okay. Go for it.
Another obstacle that we're preparing for is that it's a competitive space and on top of that, we're targeting a demographic that has a lot of nuances. We want to make sure that people who identify as gay or bisexual or transgender or queer feel celebrated, safe, and welcomed when they come to Archer. And that's why it was really important for us to have an extremely diverse team supporting the launch of Archer, from marketing to product to all our different partners externally as well.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And I think, Jane, what you were mentioning about sort of the niche interest group based conversations, that's really the trend in social media in general. The last decade or so has been mass social media, but if you think about where the trends are, it's maybe more towards these micro communities, these more interest based communities, and smaller groups that have shared interests and common bonds. So I think that it's perfectly on trend, right, if you will, with what maybe the next generation of social media users are looking for in an experience. So very cool. So my last question, this is rolling out in New York to start, right? In the greater New York area, and then beyond. So how do you think, aside, other than just, how many people are downloading the app, right? How do you think about the success of a launch of a new product like this? What metrics do you look at from a marketing perspective and from a product perspective?
So obviously we're a new app. We're going to stay hyper-focused on downloads and registrations, but there's obviously other KPIs that we're considering as well. So when it comes to measuring success of our influencer content, for example, there's a few things we are considering. We're looking at overall engagement rate performance compared to individual typical sponsored engagement rates. We're also watching overall view through rates. We're leaning heavily into video content, and we'll be looking at if we'll be comparing that to platform benchmarks. Then there's the guerrilla marketing piece where we're going to be providing trackable QR codes via branded merch. And we're also considering out of home. So we work really closely with our marketing analytics team, our data science team, and all of us are extremely collaborative in mapping out all our marketing activities and then tracking performance on the app, in that we're looking at when something's happening from a marketing perspective, what impact is that having on downloads? Are we seeing a big sizable increase in new users or new downloads? And if not, let's figure out another tactic and pivot as needed.
Fantastic.
Yeah, and word of mouth marketing is such a huge driver for us on dating apps, generally speaking. A lot of times, it's based around you found out that your best friend met their boyfriend on X app. And so you're like, okay, like I want to use that app, right? Again, success here might be different. Success might be I moved to a new city and I found this great group of friends who all love kickball or guacamole. It's my favorite one. I think that like really bonds people. But so I think like it's really important to be able to track and see that, people are kind of spreading the word for us too. We're, as you mentioned, we're launching in New York, but the hope and what we think will happen is people are really going to be sharing it with their friends. It's going to catch wind and we'll really see a drive and growth from that as well.
That's amazing. Yeah, and it really feels like this is more than just a dating app, right? It's a community app, right? So I love it. I love like the bigger picture that you're thinking about here, and I wish you the best of luck. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm really hopeful that in a couple months' time, you'll be back at a Brand Innovators event sharing the success story and talking about all the wonderful pieces of the puzzle and how it came together. But this was really, really great. Just in time for Pride Month, and I'm so excited. So thank you so much for being here, Michael and Jane. I really appreciate it.
Thanks so much for having us.
Thank you.
This has been The Brief with David Teicher. A huge shout out once again to our partners at Empire Originals. Thank you so much for powering this series and helping us bring this to life. We wouldn't be here without you. And for everybody out there in YouTube land and the Brand Innovators community, keep an eye out for the next one. We've got some more amazing interviews coming up. So we'll see you there.